A psychopath uncovers the truth behind the murders that happened 15 years ago. The film begins by showing a young boy named Justin riding his bicycle home from school through a road in the middle of the forest, when suddenly, for no clear reason, he seems to be struck by something and is violently thrown off his bike. The scene then shifts to a fairly luxurious house by the seaside owned by a married couple, Jackie Harper, a legal advisor, and her husband Greg Harper, a police detective, along with their only child Connor, a high school student who is about to celebrate his birthday in 2 weeks. That morning, while Jackie is making breakfast, she gets lost in her thoughts, causing her pancakes to burn slightly, and she also cannot find her favorite sunflower-patterned glass. As it turns out, their marriage is far from stable, as Jackie has been having an affair with another man. Connor has lost all respect for his mother and even gets into a fight with another teenager to vent his anger, while Greg continues trying to hold the family together despite frequently losing his temper due to feeling betrayed.
Hey, something burning.
Oh, have you seen my mug? The one with the sunflowers on it? I can make you pancakes if I want to.
After Greg angrily throws his phone at the window and shatters it, he notices Jackie's glass sitting on the roof and assumes Connor is the one who put it there, especially since there is even a cigarette butt inside, which he believes Connor did on purpose out of resentment toward his mother. Jackie and Greg later arrive at their respective workplaces, where Greg's superior, Lieutenant Davis, assigns him a missing child case involving Justin, who is only 10 years old and whose bicycle is the only thing that has been found. Seeing this case reminds Greg of a similar incident from some time ago, involving a teenage boy named Michael, who disappeared while riding his bike on the outskirts of the city and has never been found. Greg and his partner Spitsky immediately head to the crime scene, which is already crowded with police officers and park rangers. The police inform residents around the forest park about Justin's clothing description and ask them to report any clues they might find. Shortly afterward, a green folding knife is discovered nearby, and Spitsky is instantly alarmed as that type of green folding knife was always used by a pedophile named Cole Gordon, who 15 years earlier kidnapped, abused, and murdered 6 young boys and was personally sent to prison by Spitsky. Because of this, Spitsky suspects that whoever abducted Justin and Michael may be someone inspired by Gordon.
Wearing a green soccer jersey.
Jesus Christ. You remember Cole Gordon? That's what you're taught.
Meanwhile, Jackie returns home and is shocked to find that all of her kitchenware has disappeared, and she also encounters a repairman who has just finished fixing a broken window. As the repairman is about to leave, Jackie suddenly realizes she never let him into the house, and the man explains that it was her daughter who invited him inside. Jackie is confused since there is no daughter living in the house, but the repairman leaves before she can question him further, leading Jackie to suspect that he is the one who stole all her kitchen utensils. During dinner, Connor finally explodes in anger, accusing Jackie of betraying his father and destroying their family by having an affair, while Jackie can only sit in silence as Connor storms off to his room.
I see how mad you are.
You don't get to act.
Later, while washing dishes, Jackie is startled when the television in the living room turns on by itself, and even after she turns it off, it mysteriously switches back on again. Greg arrives home shortly after, and Jackie tells him that she has reported the repairman to the service company for stealing their kitchenware, but Greg dismisses her completely, believing it is nonsense, and already feeling fed up with her. When Greg goes upstairs, he notices that 2 framed photos are missing, and then their pet hamster escapes into a closet. As Greg tries to retrieve it, the closet door suddenly locks, causing him to panic and assume Connor is playing a prank, until Jackie comes upstairs after hearing the banging and tells him that Connor has already left the house. Feeling uneasy, Greg searches the entire house but finds nothing out of place, after which he and Jackie argue once again about their marriage.
You know, maybe I'm just tired.
I'm glad things worked out the way they did.
He knew I wouldn't provide for you like he did with
As usual, Greg decides to sleep in the guest room in the attic, while Jackie, unable to sleep and overwhelmed with emotion, stands behind the house, staring out at the ships in the ocean. Later that night, in the early hours of the morning, Jackie hears noises coming from Connor's room, which turn out to be from an online game playing on his laptop. After turning off the game, Jackie picks up Connor's clothes scattered under the bed and briefly pauses when she notices a frog mask hidden there. Shortly afterward, Connor returns from the kitchen after getting a drink, and Jackie tells him that she will take him to school the next day because a kidnapping case has just occurred. A few hours later, while Greg is asleep, his blanket is suddenly pulled, and the next morning he wakes up in shock to find his pants and bed soaked and smelling of urine, leading Greg to assume that he wet himself unconsciously due to his age. At the police station, Davis discusses the kidnapping case, which follows the exact same pattern as the case from 15 years earlier, where Cole Gordon was named as the suspect and is still currently in prison. Gordon's defense attorney is now attempting to reopen the case, believing that his client is innocent and should be released, but Spitzky insists that Gordon would never win in court, since all the evidence back then pointed directly to him, including numerous green folding knives found in the trunk of his car and the clothing of the 6 boys discovered in his house. To be certain, Davis orders Greg and Spitzky to visit the 2 victims who managed to escape Gordon 15 years ago, namely Tommy Braun and Travers, as they could serve as witnesses confirming that Gordon was indeed the perpetrator. They first visit Tommy, who is now in his 20s, but his face is visibly damaged and his mental state is unstable, and he suddenly begins screaming in terror due to the trauma he endured.
It's been a long time, Tommy, but...
Since he cannot be questioned, they return to the station, where Greg listens to a recorded conversation between Spitzky and Tommy from after Tommy escaped Gordon 15 years earlier. In the recording, a much younger Tommy explains that a man approached him and Travers near a railroad track and took them to a place deep among the trees, though Tommy cannot remember the exact location. For reasons unknown, Tommy later deliberately mutilated his own face, leaving permanent damage. He also describes the man's house as being like a magical house that the police would never be able to find.
It's not there anymore. It's a magic house, watching us on the tracks.
Someone you knew? Oh, Jesus Christ. Did he do that to your face?
I did it to myself.
Meanwhile, back at the house, Jackie's lover Todd arrives, having traveled a long way because he misses her deeply. But Jackie tells Todd to leave immediately and says that she can no longer be with him, suggesting that she has repented for her mistake and wants to fix her marriage with Greg. Suddenly, Todd is struck on the head by Jackie's favorite glass, thrown by someone unknown. Jackie quickly brings Todd down to the basement to treat his injury so that neither her husband nor her son will find out. And because the wound is quite severe, she promises to take Todd to the hospital after dropping Connor off at school. Suddenly, Jackie's phone rings, and it turns out to be a call from Todd's phone. When she answers, no one speaks, and Jackie asks Todd where he left his phone. But Todd remains dazed and gives no response, until the sound of a vinyl record playing can be heard coming from the main floor of the house. Jackie immediately goes upstairs to check, while at the same time Connor, who is getting ready for school, hears strange noises coming from the attic room. When he checks, there is no one there, and as soon as Connor comes back down from the attic, Jackie becomes convinced that her son was the one who threw the glass at Todd's head. After that, Jackie takes Connor to school, and Justin's mother comes to the house to ask about the progress of her missing son's case, because she truly believes that Justin is still alive. Jackie can only express her sympathy and assures her that her husband and the police will surely find Justin. While Jackie continues on to drop Connor off at school, Todd, who is still dazed with a bleeding head, searches for medicine in the basement, but suddenly Todd is attacked by someone. When Jackie returns home, she is horrified to find Todd already dead, even though there is clearly no one else in the house. Elsewhere, Greg and Spitzky return to the crime scene, where Spitzky eventually discovers a long rope hidden beneath some leaves. Spitzky suspects that Justin was thrown off his bicycle after hitting this stretched rope trap.
What?
Justin Witter.
When Greg arrives back home, Jackie immediately tells him about Todd's body in the basement and explains what happened earlier, that she had been talking with Todd outside the house and wanted to end their relationship when suddenly a glass fell and struck Todd's head. He was bleeding, but not seriously, and when Jackie returned from taking Connor to school, she suddenly found Todd already dead. Because of this, Jackie suspects that Connor may have hit Todd out of lingering anger toward her and accidentally killed him just before leaving for school. Jackie is now completely panicked and terrified, and Greg tries to calm her down, because no matter what, the body must be hidden immediately for Connor's safety, if their son truly is the one who killed Todd.
Why didn't you call an
It was
ambulance?
Connor. Out of nowhere, it just fell.
So angry he tried to kill someone.
Maybe it was an accident.
That night, the police and local residents search many areas for Justin, as the surrounding forest is extremely vast, while at the same time Greg and Jackie take Todd's body to a forested area to bury it. Still in shock, Jackie keeps apologizing through tears, as the incident was completely unexpected. Back at home, Connor, who is playing games in his room, hears the washing machine running and, when he checks, realizes that all the kitchen utensils are inside it. When he returns to his room, he sees a message sent to him asking whether he knows what the term frogging means. Curious, Connor immediately looks it up and learns that frogging refers to someone secretly sneaking into another person's house and even living there for days without being detected. Unbeknownst to Connor, however, someone wearing a frog mask has been watching him from his bedroom doorway the entire time. When Greg and Jackie return home, they are shocked to find Connor gagged and tied up in the bathtub with a green folding knife stuck into a bar of soap. Jackie is told to take Connor to the hospital to have his condition checked, while Greg searches the entire house, convinced that the intruder is still inside. Meanwhile, at the police station, Davis informs Spitsky that someone has just called 911 claiming to have found the kidnapper, but since the caller does not know their exact location, the police and Spitsky begin tracking the caller's phone using its GPS signal. Meanwhile, Greg begins sweeping through the house while holding his pistol. The first floor is clear. The second floor is also clear, but he notices that all the frame photos along the staircase are now missing, so Greg continues up to check the attic room. There, he finds many family photos that have been scribbled on and torn apart, and once again, a green folding knife is left behind. Greg heads back down to the first floor after hearing music coming from a vinyl record player, but suddenly he is struck from behind. The scene then flashes back to a different point of view, revealing the perspective of a young couple named Alec and Mindy, who are thrill seekers that enjoy sneaking into other people's houses while recording their actions, driven by adrenaline, excitement, and personal satisfaction. On that day, they break into Greg and Jackie's house through the garage right after the family has left. Alec and Mindy are stunned by how large the house is, until they eventually find a hiding place in the attic guest room, which is so rarely used that the bed is covered in dust. Mindy also discovers a small hidden space in the room, normally used to access the ceiling for repairs, and they plan to sleep there every night to avoid being discovered. Mindy then speaks to the camera, explaining that the documentary video is meant to show how professional intruders like them can enter people's homes without being noticed. Typically, they move to a new house after staying no longer than 4 or 5 days. Intruders are not supposed to interfere with the homeowners' lives, and they prefer targeting larger houses, since these usually have unused rooms that can serve as hiding places. Mindy is experienced with this kind of infiltration, while Alec is still a newcomer, and this particular house was chosen by Alec himself. Fortunately, there are no CCTV cameras in the house, and the most thrilling part of sneaking in is when the entire family leaves, allowing the intruders to do whatever they want inside the house. That night, after Mindy has fallen asleep, Alec boldly wanders around the house. He sees Jackie sleeping in her bedroom while Greg is asleep on the couch, and Alec also takes Jackie's glass. The next morning, Alec smokes while opening a window, but Mindy immediately tells him to get back inside because his behavior is too risky and could get them caught. Not long after, Greg throws his phone in anger, shattering the window, and when Greg heads toward the attic room to retrieve Jackie's glass from the roof, Alec and Mindy quickly hide behind a mirror.
Bastard.
Once the house is empty, Mindy hides their backpack, filled with necessities, inside a basement closet, while Alec takes 2 framed photos from the staircase, removes all the kitchen utensils, and crushes one of Jackie's sleeping pills to mix it into the water bottle. Alec also finds the Wi-Fi password on the table and immediately downloads a universal remote app so he can turn the TV on remotely. Alec deliberately pulls these pranks to mess with the homeowners, even though Mindy clearly disagrees with his behavior. Shortly afterward, a repairman arrives and is allowed inside by Mindy, since the man would never suspect that she is an intruder.
Wouldn't it be kind of funny to mess with them?
How about a broken window?
Just a second!
That night, Mindy feels disturbed by the news of Justin's kidnapping that has shaken the town, especially since another teenager named Michael had also disappeared earlier. After that, Alec gives Mindy water that has been secretly mixed with a small amount of sleeping pills so she will sleep soundly. Once again, Alec continues his actions, turning the TV on, releasing the hamster, and even locking Greg inside the closet.
From his house, authorities are now telling...
No, not in there. This is your room, but no, not in there. I'm not gonna hurt you. Connor?
However, when Jackie comes in, Alec quickly hides under Connor's bed while wearing the frog mask.
Pounding, so I came
Where's
upstairs.
I know, man. I'm covering you.
Later, when everyone is asleep, Alec does something truly unhinged by pulling Greg's blanket and urinating on him. The next morning, Mindy is shocked to see Alec smoking again and even sitting on the roof. Mindy warns him that they must not interfere with the family and should coexist quietly, but Alec responds that he just wants to have a little fun. Eventually, Alec drops a glass, which accidentally strikes Todd on the head.
Ow! Ow! Oh my God!
The fuck did you just... I don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm sorry. What's wrong with me?
I realize that they're gonna call the cops. Alec, I don't know what's happening.
Not long after, Connor goes up to the attic after hearing strange noises, but fortunately, Alec and Mindy manage to hide in the small hidden space. Mindy insists that they leave the house immediately because too much chaos has already happened, but since her backpack is still in the basement, she has no choice but to retrieve it and needs a distraction. Alec, who had earlier seen Todd's phone fall, picks it up to call Jackie and also plays music on the vinyl record player, while Mindy rushes down to the basement to get her backpack. Unfortunately, Todd is there, forcing Mindy to wait until he leaves, but suddenly, something unexpected happens. It turns out that the one who killed Todd was Greg. At that time, he was driven back to the house by Spitsky to retrieve some belongings, and the baseball bat used as evidence of the murder was placed into a bag that Greg stored in the trunk of his car. Greg then continued on to the kidnapping crime scene together with Spitsky. Meanwhile, Alec recklessly took all the family photos, cut them up, and taped them across the walls of the attic room. On the other hand, Mindy was still in shock after witnessing the murder, but just as she had retrieved her backpack and was about to leave, Jackie suddenly returned home and went down into the basement. Mindy was forced to hide and secretly witnessed an argument between Jackie and Greg in which Jackie suspected that her son Connor had killed Todd, while Greg pretended to be confused and suggested burying Todd to erase any evidence.
You don't get to lose it right now!
Why didn't you call an ambulance?
I don't know what's happening.
After both of them left the house carrying Todd's body in Jackie's car, Mindy saw that Alec had already knocked Connor unconscious and was tying him up. Horrified, Mindy tried to call the police because Alec's actions had clearly crossed the line, but Alec accidentally pushed Mindy down the stairs, causing her to hit her head and lose consciousness. Alec then placed Mindy into the trunk of Greg's car, quickly tied Connor up in the bathtub, stabbed the green folding knife into a bar of soap, and planned to escape using Greg's car. Unfortunately for him, Greg and Jackie returned home sooner than expected, forcing Alec to hide. After Jackie left to take Connor to the hospital, Greg did not search the house for the intruder, but instead drove his car to another location, with Mindy still unconscious in the trunk. When Mindy eventually woke up, she tried to stay calm and checked the contents of the bag Greg was carrying, only to discover that it contained not only the baseball bat, but also Justin's clothes and many green folding knives. At that moment, the truth became clear that Greg was the one responsible for kidnapping the young boys in the town. Greg then parked his car in a forested area and walked deeper inside. After waiting for a while, Mindy gets out of the car and immediately calls 911, saying that she has found the child kidnapper, but she does not know her current location, and the call eventually disconnects due to poor signal. Not long after, Mindy discovers an old rundown van with all of its windows covered in newspapers so the light inside cannot be easily seen. Taking a huge risk, Mindy enters the van and realizes that it is the vehicle Greg uses to imprison Justin and Michael inside a cabinet. The two boys beg Mindy to free them, explaining that Greg has already dug a grave and they are certain they will be killed. Suddenly, Greg appears and covers Mindy's head with a plastic bag, causing her to lose consciousness. After Mindy is knocked out and placed back into the trunk, Greg finds Mindy's camera and realizes that there is another intruder living inside his house. When he returns home, Mindy is taken to an upstairs bedroom, awakened from her unconscious state, and without hesitation, Greg shoots her dead.
All I need you to do is stand up. Listen to me. Just stand up.
He then fires 2 shots into the wall, places the gun in Mindy's hand, and wipes away his own fingerprints. Greg then hunts down Alec inside the house while Alec deliberately lures him by playing music on the vinyl record player, eventually managing to strike Greg's hand and knock the gun away. A fight breaks out, but Greg manages to knock Alec unconscious with a metal rod. To complete his plan, Greg stabs himself with a knife, and just as he is about to kill Alec, Alec regains consciousness and grabs the fallen gun, pointing it directly at Greg. Alec tells him that he knows Greg is a twisted pedophilic monster who has been kidnapping young boys in the town. However, Greg reveals his calculated plan to manipulate everything, intending to kill Alec and frame both Alec and Mindy as the kidnappers, claiming he was forced to shoot them in self-defense because they planned to abduct Connor. Alec, filled with hatred, silently stares at Greg, and when Greg sees Alec's face up close, he suddenly begs for his life, trying to explain his dark and traumatic childhood in hopes of being forgiven. Alec, however, is unmoved by Greg's words and ultimately shoots him dead.
You have any idea what's coming for you? He was gonna be next. I stopped you just in time. When I was a little boy, I don't give a fuck.
After killing Greg, Alec breaks down in tears, and not long after, the police arrive at the scene. When Spitsky sees Alec holding the gun, he immediately shoots Alec in the shoulder, but is shocked when Alec calls him by name. Using the GPS signal from Mindy's earlier phone call, the police quickly locate the van, and both kidnapped boys are rescued alive. Detective Spitsky stands in stunned disbelief upon realizing that his colleague all along was the true perpetrator. When Jackie Harper and Connor Harper return home, Spitsky is forced to reveal the horrifying truth, along with the remaining evidence found in the trunk of Greg Harper's car. The film ends with Alec being loaded into an ambulance as he reflects on the traumatic events of his childhood 15 years earlier, revealing that his full name is Alec Travers, the childhood friend of Tommy Braun, who was once kidnapped and abused, though both of them managed to escape before being killed. The terrifying truth is that Cole Gordon, who was accused 15 years ago, was merely a scapegoat, as all the evidence found in his house and car had actually been planted by the real culprit, Greg Harper, a deeply manipulative and monstrous predator. This is why Alec chose Greg's house from the very beginning, because his true goal was revenge, and with that, the story comes to an end.